Hi, it's Teresa with Crafty with Teresa. Thank you so much for joining me today.
As promised, today I'm going to be making a sidestep card. At least that's what I'm going to call it. It's actually very, very simple, but when I first tried it, it looked kind of hard to me, but I promise you it's not. So if I can give it a go, you can. So here's a card that I've made, which I think is cute as a button. I love it because this card, it folds down flat and fits into your A2 size envelope, which I think makes it look much more complicated and looks like you spent a lot more time working on those cards. So you'll see a few different versions of it, and I'll explain why you see the different versions as we go throughout the video. So let's get to crafting. First, let's start with an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. This is actually going to be your card base. And what you'll do is you'll take that cardstock, and on the 11-inch side, you'll place that at the top. And your first cut, you're going to cut it at 8.5. Then you'll rotate that, and you'll cut 5.5, which will leave you the piece of 5.5 by 8.5, and then the second cut will be the remaining 3 by 8.5, and you'll see later on that we change that to, instead of it being 3 by 8.5, it will be 3 by 8. It just, to me, it worked better sliding into the A2 size envelope doing it that way. So next, what we'll do is we're going to take that first cut, which is the 5.5 by 8.5, and we're going to score it at 1 1/4. And you'll see I actually have to do that on the right hand side of my cutter because of the fact that I feel like this is a better way for me to videotape this. But if you could let me know if this is better than the way I usually do it, which is kind of upside down sometimes. So the first score will be at 1 1/4, the second score will be at 2.5, and then the third score will be at 5.5. So what you'll do is you'll just basically fold those. I did want to show you that I a lot of times don't show this in the video, so I thought I'd cover that today. I take the scoring side that actually is indented, and that's the side that I use when I want to do my score. I don't know why, but I feel like it doesn't look like it's going to tear if you do it that way. I hope this makes sense. If it doesn't, just try it both ways, and whichever way works for you. But I use the side that's indented, and that's the side that I score. And of course, I'll just meet the edges with those 3 scores. And you'll see here now we have the step. The second piece is actually the 3 by 8. All you'll do with this piece basically is you'll score it at 4 1/4. Next, let's grab some cardstock and some pattern paper as well. The pattern paper that we'll be using is called Let's Party. First, we'll take that zip strip that's on the end and remove it. Now, we'll have that piece of 12 by 12 paper. So on the 12-inch side, we just cut it to 3 and rotate it then, and then cut it to 4. So that piece will be 3 by 4, and it will go on the front top flap. Next, let's cut the Bluebird cardstock. You'll see here I did grab some scraps because I thought I'd use those, but I was already cutting the cardstock, so I just went on with it. You'll be cutting 3 pieces of Bluebird cardstock. Your first cut will be at 5.5 inches. Then you'll rotate that piece and cut it to 3 inches, so that piece will be 3 by 5.5. That piece will go on the inside first step. The second piece will be the same, a 3 by 5.5 inch strip, and that's actually going to go on the back of the side step card. I hope this makes sense. If not, I hope it will in just a few minutes. The last cut here will be the small piece that goes on the very front step, and that will be the 1 1/4 by 5.5 inch Bluebird cardstock. Now you'll see on the other card that I actually made that a little bit different. I made that to be a 1 by 5 1/4, but that's what I do sometimes when I have leftover pieces of scraps. I'll use them up. You'll also need a piece of white cardstock. In this case I'm using white daisy, and I had a scrap, so that's what I'm working with. That piece will go on the inside, and it will be a 2 3/4 inch strip by 5. Now let's take a minute and get our stamping done. We're going to put that white daisy cardstock inside my mini Misty. Now you do not need a mini Misty. It's just convenient for me because I have it here at my desk. You are more than welcome to grab a stamp block. Do not have to have a mini Misty. Now I grabbed a really old stamp set back from 2015 and found this cute little banner, and then I stamped the banner on the top left of that white daisy cardstock strip. Then I put a happy birthday in there because I think this would be a perfect happy birthday card. Now that all this cutting and stamping is done, let's quickly put this sidestep card together. Now let's show you how I put it all together, and hopefully I can explain it to where it makes sense. First, let's put the pattern paper on the front of the, I think I've decided to call this my fake little mini card that stands up, because it really isn't a front flap because we actually glue it down. Anyway, I'm just making this up as I go. If anyone else knows what we can call it, jump in there for me, will you? The first piece that we'll put on the side step portion of the card is the 1 1/4 by 5.5 inch strip. That's that first little step. We'll actually move into the inside, but before we go there, let's put the sentiment piece that's on the white daisy cardstock onto the 3 by 5.5 inch piece of Bluebird cardstock. Doesn't that look perfect with that nice little border? So we'll put that on the inside. The one thing you'll see me do quite often is when I have these fold cards, I add a little bit of extra glue around there because they seem to be thicker, but I really think that's just an optical illusion because of the folds. But you definitely don't want your card or your pieces to fall out when they open the card. I think this turned out so awesome. Now we need to attach the pattern paper piece, the 3 by 4, to that little mini fake card that stands up. As you can see, I decided to go ahead and change it to the other side, from the party banners to the yay side. I just thought, why not? Let's just change it up a bit, and I really like how this turned out. I'll take the 3 by 4 and attach it to the front. Then I'll take that front part
and we'll attach it to the first step. Then I'll attach the back piece of our little fake mini card to the very back of our side step base. Lastly, we'll put the 3 by 5.5 Bluebird cardstock onto the back, and this card is done. This is the first time I've made this sidestep card, so I hope you like it. So just to show you what this looks like, I grabbed an envelope. These are just envelopes I have sitting by my desk. And I'll just show you how these card folds insert, and they insert into the envelope nicely. I showed it with this card and then the one that I showed you in the very beginning of this video. So I'm going to end the card video here and wish everyone who celebrates a happy Easter. Thank you so much for joining me today. Stay tuned, more videos to come. Until next time, have a great day.